And we are live. Hello and welcome. This is Highly Articulated. We are doing our Saturday nights live. We're going to talk about Mythic Legions for about an hour. Today, I'm very, very happy to have Patty with me. Patty, what's going on, buddy? We haven't chatted in
Hey,
a while.
it's been a while, Adam. How are you doing?
Busy. It's been a
Yeah,
hectic summer. We've had a couple summers of like inactivity, and then all of a sudden I think everybody's just like the floodgates have opened, and all the activities that we've been putting off, we've been doing, and I'm in Kelowna, but like I've gone to Vancouver a few weekends, or we've had beach days and stuff like that, and it's just like where does the
piling
time
everything
go?
in.
I'm like, it's September, right? Like it's
Yeah,
crazy that the summer's come and gone. But I mean, hopefully that kind of means that things slow down, do more videos. We got a lot of
sure.
legions incoming, so we'll have lots more toy time, hopefully.
Yeah, this fall is poised to be huge for all Mythic Legion collectors. Definitely.
It's gonna be bonkers. There's Alithia, there's the
Hmm.
Legion Deluxe Legion builders. I mean, for those lucky enough, Legions Con is coming up pretty quick. I think I saw 10 weeks away, which doesn't seem like that much, but when it's like next week, you get in that cycle where like you go, 10 weeks is kind of far away, and then it'll be like, well, 9 weeks is like, hey, well, it's tomorrow. Oh shoot. But yeah, a
Yeah,
bunch of waves. Landing, and for a lot of people that means a lot of figures, especially with those legion builders, right? So but
totally.
we'll get into that in a moment. um Michael Casper, what's going on, buddy? I will be opening this. I took the tape off, but I haven't opened it yet. This was thanks to the Legion Slayers guys, so good to have you on,
Yes.
buddy.
I know I'm eager to see what's inside. I
I
hadn't even
haven't
got a
opened it. I
preview,
took the
so
tape off to sort of expedite the process,
nice.
but I all I saw was bubble wrap, so I'm excited to get it open.
Cool.
Um, but yeah, we'll kind of start off with that, and then we'll go over All Stars 5 stuff. You and I haven't chatted about All Stars 5 that much, so
Nope.
I'm excited to sort of hear what you think, what you're looking forward to the most. If there's anything you're gonna pass on in the wave, stuff like that.
Totally.
Um, But should we get straight into this box?
Yeah.
So this was shipped to me. I guess I won. Um, I I didn't actually realize that I was entering any sort of a contest. I think they had like a question because they do kind of a weekly poll, and they'll post in the Mythic Legions Cabal a question, post your answer, and then they sort of chat about that on their show. Um, Unbeknownst to me, it was sort of, I entered myself into a contest, and I actually won. And the unfortunate part, and I really apologize to the guys for it. I didn't actually catch the end of the episode where they pulled the winners. So I got a few messages from a couple other people that were like, "Hey, congratulations!" And I was sort of like, "For what? What do you know that I don't know?" And they were like, "Well, you might want to watch the end of Legion's
Legion
lair."
Slayer.
So yeah, so I went back and actually watched it a couple hours later because it's right at the end of my workday. So I usually kind of catch it sort of at the end of my workday, but depending on how my day ends,
Sure.
get pulled away. And then when I got home, got settled in, watched the end. Sure enough, but that's boring. Um, Mike, Brad, and Lauren, thank you guys for this. Let's get right into it. We have, like, I kind of know what it is, but this is interesting because there's definitely more in here than I expected. Um, Legion's Lair stick.
Nice.
That's pretty dope. Those will go with my Cabal stickers and my Wolf King custom stickers. And this is there's two pairs of Deadpool ankle socks.
Very nice.
That's unexpected. But very much appreciated. Everybody needs socks. But here's the main event right here. This is
Nicely wrapped too. See the bubble
very
wrap
well
around it.
wrapped.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice job. Cool.
being in Canada, I offered to pay the shipping, and they insisted that I didn't have to pay the shipping. What am I going to say, right?
That's nice of
So
you. Yeah.
this guy is heavy. I think somebody mentioned that. I think when they sort of had this in hand, that it's really heavy. This is easily the heaviest Mythic Legion standard figure I've ever had in hand. But it is
Whoa, nice.
the PowerCon exclusive tribute. Well, it's not
Xenothon.
exclusive; it's an All Stars 5 as well. But the tribute figure Xenothon or Xenothon, with all the Four Horsemen signatures on there. Does it pick? I
Yep,
think that's Corn Boy up in
totally.
the top corner there, and everybody. I think Walter's signature is on here as well somewhere. I think that's Walter right at the bottom there. So
That's
that's
awesome,
pretty
dude.
cool. That's really exciting. Now the debate is: do I leave this in package with the signature, or do I open it? That's the really hard call.
Not to be a devil on your shoulder or anything, but I mean the packaging is resealable, so you do have that option.
I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's collector-friendly packaging, as everybody
It's
sort of
true.
always mentions. So,
It's true.
I've also sort of toyed with the idea of putting a different figure in the signed packaging. So one that I intend to sort of leave boxed.
Sure.
Because I really do want. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to take it out. I can't wait.
It's a
like
test. It's a
it's like
testament
a
to their
year
work,
before I
man.
get this in hand, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, as you mentioned, it's collector friendly packaging. I could put it back in the box anytime.
Sure.
But yeah, that was from Legion's Lair, the great dudes at Legion's Lair, Brad and Mike. So if you're ever looking for some great Mythic Legions content,
Definitely.
Tuesday afternoons for me, Tuesday evenings if you're on the East Coast, they are doing Legion's Lair, and it's always a lot of fun. They typically have a guest on. Sometimes it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, in spirit. But, you know what? I'll open that later because otherwise I'll be completely distracted. So
I don't know, man. Just having seen the Dork Lair review of it when Bill like sort of showcased it, man, it looks so cool. Looks really cool. And to have like a gray orc in the first time in the line, gray orc, that's just awesome. I know we'll get into it deeper when we talk about the lineup for AS5, but
yeah,
I suspect a lot of people will be buying him in multiples, you know.
yeah, that's kind of how I'm looking at it. I think a lot of people are sort of thinking the same thing. Open it, get a brand new Thistlethorn, and use the clamshell on it.
Bingo.
That is, I'm not gonna lie, that is 100% my intention. Now I just have to track down another Thistlethorn, which shouldn't be too hard. I mean, they're still floating around out there, and people that love him absolutely love him. But I think there's a lot of people that are pretty indifferent and willing to sell him. But anyway, again, Mike, thanks. Huge shout out to you guys. You guys do great stuff over on the show, and it's as something of a technologically incapable person. I love how low tech their setup is, with the Facebook Live, with their everything's backwards because they don't have the mirrored image or whatever, and they're it's just part of the charm of that show, and I love it, and you guys are great, absolutely. And Mike, I'm gonna reach out to you and Brad. I would love to have you guys on here sometime. So
Totally.
but yeah, as far as sort of army building, and well, with the twist ties and stuff, I'm not going to pull them out. But yeah, with the army building, I mean, a gray orc, you can't just have one gray orc. I think you're gonna have to have 2, 3, 5, 10.
Yeah.
And a great base for customizing too. The gray base, the bear torso and stuff is a great base for customizing.
I think
Plus,
Dorklair had put him on a Bardric torso as well, and that kind of really looked good.
mhm.
Yeah.
There's a lot of versatility in that figure, and I think that's I'm not a big Motu guy. Like I had no idea who this character was based on, but my first impressions were that it was just a really really good looking figure, a really interesting looking figure. I love orcs, so the fact that they introduced more orcs, we'll get more into sort of what they introduced in the line. Well, you know what? Let's just get into it.
Sure.
Let's not. Um, I am quickly just going to mention, just because we can, and just because I, you know, I have to. I feel compelled to, because Mike's a great dude, and Mike's where all of us Canadians um, get our Mythic Legion stuff. It's right there on the homepage. Like, that's the first thing. So Mike's all in on Legions, which is great.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to mention. I mean, we're talking about Alithia Wave landing and Deluxe Legion Builders landing. Just wanted to point out that there's still quite a few of the Alithia figures available from eCollectibles. So if you haven't gotten them yet, or you missed out, you can
It's
refresh Big Bad
coming.
Toy Store every 2 minutes if you want, or just hit up ecollectibles.ca and get your Alithia stuff. I think he's got most of the Deluxe Legion builders as well. I haven't checked on that, but
Yeah, I don't think he's out of any when I last checked.
no, they're still good to
No.
go. I think people were looking for the half giant in the Cabal there the other day, but
Yeah.
they're all on there. I also have to mention that he's got a lot of cool kind of fodder, like Mythic Legion's fodder stuff, and it's not on this page, and I don't know where it is. But he does have the D20 Wolves in stock.
Yeah.
As well as the D20 Boars up for pre-order. And I will mention, because I don't know all the exact details, but I'm pretty sure that in the next couple weeks here, if you order a boar through Mike, you are entered into a draw for a wolf, which is a
Nice.
pretty great prize. Um, you know, if you're gonna get a boar anyway, you may as well get one from Mike, and you probably got pretty good chances. I mean, that's not a high volume thing, so I think it's. I mean, to me, it's a no brainer. If you're going to get a boar, you may as well get it now and get into the draw there.
Yeah, and especially for people who are not in Canada, note that the pricing is in Canadian, so therefore
Yeah,
US dollar, that drops it significantly less, right? So
yeah,
big advantage to
shockingly.
anyone in the cabal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you're in the U.S., I mean, that is Canadian dollars, so
Correct.
it's I'm pretty sure it's pretty much on par with like what you'd get it for from somewhere like Big Bad Toy Store.
Hmm.
So yeah, definitely a cool option. You'll probably get it way before you get it with Big Bad Toy Store. I think that Wolf took people like 6 weeks or 8 weeks after everybody else sort of got theirs from the direct pre-order. So
Yeah, that might be I think that might be due to uh, the sort of slowdowns in the ports of Los Angeles and such. It seems
mhm.
that's where. I mean, I'm talking a bit out of my hat. I don't know for certain, but I think that might be some of the reasons why Big Bad is a little slower these days.
My understanding is that they ship full containers, so they ship their own
Hmm.
containers from Asia. Like the product, um, like they take delivery in Asia and then
Okay.
ship it
Yeah.
themselves, but they wait until they have a full container. So there's some things get delayed and some things seem early, kind of thing. I don't know. That's what I sort of understood. But anyway, who cares? I
No, we're good with Mike, so we'll
Yeah,
stay
we
with
got Mike. What do
we'll
we?
stay with the collectibles. It's fine.
Oh, 100%. Um, I don't buy anything from anywhere else unless like I'll message Mike and be like, "Hey, Mike, do you have this?" And he'd be like, "No," and I'd be like, "Can you get it?" And the only reason that I ever order from anywhere else is if he says that he can't get it,
I do
which
yeah,
doesn't happen very often.
I do almost all my stuff with them. This stuff that I don't is like exclusive, like a Target exclusive or something, or a store exclusive. But other
Hmm.
than that, I've been really satisfied.
But he's been able to pick some of those up too.
That's
So
true. That's true.
the only thing is like um you risk not getting it if you wait on him sort of getting something that is an exclusive then gets offered to him. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So, um
So AS5.
I feel like we're just wasting time because I mean all we really want to talk about is All Stars 5, right? Like it's an amazing wave.
Yeah.
Um I'm I was initially a little bit underwhelmed by the actual All Star vote.
Mm.
Um, yeah, just because the ones that I wanted weren't the ones that everybody else wanted. I mean, the
We.
process is great. I love the process.
What was your
But
number one that wasn't through? Was it the Silverhorn Century?
my number one was Elf Ranger.
Elf Ranger. That's right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
My number one, my number two that I thought might actually make it was the Silverhorn Century.
Yeah. I was kind of bummed that that didn't make it, but you know what? I knowing them, there will be something down the line, right? Like I'm not.
Well, I mean, if I'm being perfectly honest, that I've said I've said as much. I was upset that neither of those made it because those were my top two, and those are sort of on my short list of sort of figures that I missed being somewhat new to the line that I really want. That being said, I wasn't over the moon about like Romulus, Azar, and Ilgar, but they 100% made up for it with
Yep.
Dubin, the Xylernian guard, and Boreas, Lady Averona. Like
Yeah.
I mean, sway all the new figures. I love all the new figures. This is an all star wave for me in name only because the all stars are the ones that I don't know that I'm going to get in favor of getting multiples of the new ones.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Do you want to start? Maybe we can go by how they are on Source for Horsemen and just go
Yeah,
yeah or nay or thoughts on
yeah,
each.
for sure. Um,
Is
Boreas, yay or nay?
nah,
um,
Boris.
yeah, let's do
Boris.
that.
Wow.
Let's just go.
Yeah.
Let's just go figure by figure.
Sure.
And are you in? Are you out? Or are you getting multiples? Are you going to do an all in? Like, are you going to get one of everything? Is that kind of how you're like me? I
So
think you just pick and choose based on just preference. So
yeah, I mean, look, money and space, no object. I'd do an all in for sure. The all in price, that even on the Horseman store was actually quite compelling if you think
hmm
about it. Like it's fantastic value.
hmm
Um, I will unlikely be able to do them all just because I don't really have the space. I have to be very strategic how I'm placing them. So I'm gonna have to go pick and choose. And if there's some FOMO that sets in later, hopefully the ones that I pick first round are the hottest ones, and then I can go back after. If I have that regret sink in, which with the Mythic Legions does tend to happen, right?
it's fun. Everybody's a little bit different, and the other admins in Knights of the North. I think you fall more into their camp. Well, not so much.
Mhm.
You're kind of in the middle. I send Mike my list, and that's it. Like I'm kind of one and done unless there's like an odd thing. Like I did eventually add a Varg to my Alithia order, like right at
Yes,
the
did I?
last, because I don't actually love that figure, but I love the fodder potential for it. The bear vampire torso, like I'm not gonna that head. I'm not sold on that head, but the vampire torso,
Yeah.
the arms, the kind of cuff, the leather cuffs, and the bear vampire feet. I was like, I love vampires. What am I gonna do? So I'm buying Varg for parts, um, which
Uh,
is kind of ridiculous. But I mean, some of the other guys, like Mike will be like, okay, it's showing up tomorrow. What do you guys want? And everybody's like, do I have an order in? He's like, no, he didn't place an order.
yeah.
Um, I get my order in right away, and then I hurry up and wait. So I think I've already sent Mike my All Stars 5 Plus order, or at least sort of in principle said here's what I want, because he doesn't have orders open, obviously, because he won't
No,
have orders open until Four Horsemen orders close, which I believe is
this week.
basically this time
Yeah,
next week, so Saturday
right.
next week, and then Mike should get it pretty shortly after that. But yeah, the all in from Four Horsemen is a pretty fantastic deal.
Hmm.
Just getting into the comments here, Mike said the actual voted on All Stars are my favorites by far. That's
Oh,
an
okay.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, but it seems to me like there's kind of two camps. There's like
Hmm.
the people that love all the All Stars that got voted in, and the people that are over the moon for the new stuff. There's all in people for sure, and I think a lot of people are going to do an all in, or a lot of people will get sort of one of each just to have a complete collection. But it seems like there's the people that are sort of um, picking and choosing, I guess, seem to fall into one of those two categories, which is really fascinating to me,
Yeah.
because it's cool that the All Stars, for people that have been around a while, there's a lot of people that, for I mean, with these three, really because of cost, right?
Hmm.
Azar, Romulus, and Ilgar are all really, really, really highly sought after figures, and the price sort of indicates that. Um, they're great figures, don't get me wrong. But for me, they just represent kind of factions and stuff that I just don't, they don't do it for me. Um, but Azar, for me, it's pass. I don't have Zazar. I'm not getting Azahazar, so I don't need to complete the trifecta.
I,
I knew that you had that.
yeah. So I'm I'm not certain if he's a pass or a buy yet. Uh,
Come
so the
on.
only the only reason I say this is in the Poxus wave, I did not pick up his joined form,
Mm,
and specifically for that reason. And I ended up getting Zazar here locally in a trade, and it was like just too appealing to not pick up. But I'm
mm.
still not certain that I need him. You know what I mean? Like it's conflicted. So for him, that is likely a pass, but
So take
as
note,
things get
everybody. He's
closer,
saying pass. When
yeah,
these ship,
it's
I
possible.
tell
I
you,
might,
he's
yeah.
this is going to be a FOMO one for you for sure.
Of all of the ones that we'll talk about right now, he's the one that's most likely to be in on the fence. I might change my
Yeah.
mind, but that would also force me to really strongly consider the
As a
Poxus
Hazard.
wave as Azar, and I'm like, I really don't know if I want to get as Azar. So yeah, it's. I think I'm with you for now. We'll call it a pass, but with a backdoor option later potentially.
It's not a hard no. It's
It's not a hard
just
no.
I didn't get Zazar. I love the deco of these guys,
Hmm.
but the demons just somehow don't do it for me in terms of my head canon.
I hear you.
Skeletons and Mercurians are kind of the same way. Um,
Yep.
I kind of said from day one of me collecting legions, which was not that long ago, that skeletons and knights are less. They kind of have less draw for me than woodland creatures, fuzzy animals, and then sort of the more magical stuff, the elves, the orcs, the goblins, and stuff like that. So I mean, this wave is really, really balanced. It's got a little bit for everybody. But yeah, the demons and Azar, not for me. Boreas, on the other
Oof.
hand, I don't
That's
think
a
there's anybody that isn't getting Boreas unless they really just don't have the space. I saw somebody on the Cabal had like an all in plus 10 Boreas.
yeah. I mean, for Boreas, I think the question isn't so much in or out. I think most collectors are going to want it. It's a question
Mhm.
of how many they're going to get. I'm down for one. Um, don't know if I'll go multiple on that. I Shelf space is limited at that point, and they
Mhm.
are huge. And man, the Horsemen really have delivered to the market, like in my opinion, the best steed possible. It makes McFarlane, and I'm not taking a dump on the McFarlane horse from Witcher at all, but
Hmm.
there's no comparison in terms of the quality. I
No,
mean,
I would have to agree 100% that that Witcher horse looks fine until
yeah,
you put it next to a Mythic Legion's horse. And I've seen it next to Balius, and it looks good, like you said, but there's something about the proportions that just don't.
slightly off.
Um, yeah, it's just like there's something about the way that the Four Horsemen sculpt their stuff that's a little sort of over exaggerated. So it's a little bit um it's exaggerated, so it's not 100% accurate. Like when you actually like look at a
Yeah,
figure, like man, this guy is really thick, like really thick. And I think the horses are kind of the same. I think that Witcher horse just looks skinny comparatively, and it doesn't look right
for medieval, right?
next to Balius. And then Boreas on Boreas has the more sort of workhorse legs and stuff like that. So he even looks thicker and stronger and more just looks tougher, I guess, because he's that dark gray, almost black, and
It's
I I
the
love this. I'm
mane.
definitely getting multiples of Boreas.
He has the mane that comes from Atheon, right?
Hmm.
And that's, I mean, the one thing that I'll say about Atheon, like, and I have him, and I'm very happy to have him with Aerithir, but like that was one that I had initially skipped early on because it was like that entire wave was like my first full wave of legions,
Hmm.
and I didn't was like, fire horse. I don't know if I need that, like I didn't quite get it yet. But just looking at the design of Atheon, like it's a great horse that nobody talks about quite as much as Balius.
You're right. You're
But
absolutely right.
and this Boreas is going to be like that perfect transition, that perfect in between both.
Hmm.
I'm looking incredibly forward to it. It's going to look
Hmm.
great in ACBA. It's going to look great with everything.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'm probably getting, like I said, I'm getting multiples. I'm gonna get
Yeah,
at least two of this. My plan is to essentially swap the harness and saddle and stuff from my second Balius so that they don't look exactly the same.
sure.
I may even like dye those parts so that like the
Mm,
two sets of sort of gear don't even look the same, just to sort of
yeah,
mix it up a little bit. I actually got my second Balius with the intention of dyeing him darker like Boreas, but now I don't have to, so that kind of saves me the work. Um,
totally.
but yeah, just such a. I mean, the horses, the mounts are just so good. Keep them coming. I mean, at some point, I'll be like, okay, that's enough. That's enough. I'm only getting one of each now. But since we only have Balius and Boreas as non batty, um, four
Steedster.
horsemen horses, uh, you got to get a couple.
True.
My kids love them too. My oldest daughter claimed the first Balius for Gwendolyn, so that's that was her Balius. So I had to get
Nice.
another one for that reason. Jay said, waiting for my 3 all-in deluxe Legion builders. We'll be here next week. Need some new ones. Been too long since I've gotten a new Legion.
Yeah.
Yep, it's it says the biggest order that he's ever made. That's I mean that's a lot. That's a lot of Legion builders. That's a lot of Legion builders.
Heck yeah.
Um,
So we all agree, Boreas, we're in. Do
I
we?
think yeah. I mean that's I think Boreas is one where you're going to be kicking yourself if you don't get Boreas. Like
Yeah.
that's I think if there's anything in here that anybody's on the fence about, Boreas, just get it. Just get it
Yeah.
and change your mind later because it's the cheapest you'll ever get it is at retail, right? So,
Hmm.
um,
Dubin?
after that we've got Dubin, the human ranger from Xylona's flock, comes with the hawk on his arm, soft good capes from CJ.
Hmm.
Great head sculpt, just great deco. He's just awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in on Dubin. When he was first revealed, I forget which influencer showed him off first. Was that D or
Nerds,
was it
Nerdzoic, I think, wasn't it?
Nerdzoic? It
Hmm.
might have been. When they was first showed off that first day, I wasn't quite sure. I was like, oh, it looks cool, but I don't know if I need like a tracker or what have you. But then some of Trevor Williams' photos uh,
Mm-hmm.
made their way, and I'm like, yeah, no, he's great. Great reuse of that of the hawk from the
Hmm.
vampire. Which vampire was it from?
Valak.
Valak. That's it. Yeah, great reuse of that. Uh, but especially with him, I realize that a lot of these figures are reuse, but like, man, hard to tell with this guy. He's so unique,
Hmm.
so much character and personality in the face. Absolutely wonderful. So yeah, he's a must-have.
Yeah, a lot of this is a Lithia wave reuse.
Mm,
So there's a lot of parts that people are going to have a lot of anyway. So it's again a great fodder figure because I think the kind of neutral colors on this too are going to work really well for customizing. You've got the gray fabric arms and I believe legs as
hmm
well, like the arm as well as the leg are those fabric from Alithia, the new chins from Alithia, the leather gloves, the leather boots from Alithia, the
Yep.
shoulder pauldrons from Lord Bardrick, new head sculpt. But that new belt with like the two slots,
hmm
so you get the dagger and the sword in there. Like I just love when characters can carry more stuff. It just looks so cool. And if he's a ranger, you'd think he's got to be able to carry his own stuff. So
It's the type of figure that like it just has so much character that you want to create
mhm.
narratives around it. Like
Yeah, exactly.
you could
It's
build around this guy. You know what I mean?
for sure. He doesn't
Okay.
have to be a human ranger from Zylona's flock. I think the more I've sort of looked at him in the muted gray tone, he
Could have
could
his own
really,
backstory.
yeah, and he could kind of just be like a wandering type
Yeah.
of non-aligned character. I think that's personally, I think that's the one thing that's sort of missing in Mythos
Yeah.
is that everybody has to have a faction. And in my head canon, that's not always the case. But
I kind of like the idea of like a Ronin like character or
mhm,
developing a few more of those that are just
mhm,
out there, paladins if you want. Like,
mhm.
yeah,
Jake
Jay's
Gray
right.
for a chief
Yeah,
fighter ranger, yeah, he can kind of do a little bit of everything. He kind of has that
100%.
that tough guy kind of look, and the bird looks fantastic too. I mean that
He's
he doesn't necessarily have to keep that. That bird could go. You can have an aviary between that and Valak's bird and stuff. That's kind of what I'm thinking is that he may
Du-
lose this bird and Valak may gain this bird as just cause. Um,
Dubin has that face where he's seen some life. He's seen he's seen
yeah,
some battles. Totally.
he's been around. He's seen
He's
the
been
North.
around.
He's been yeah
Yeah.
exactly.
So we move to the head packs, right?
Yeah, that is absolutely right. Head pack is next, and the head pack I think is one of those things where there's um again it's in a lot of ways very similar to the All
Mm,
Stars 5 Plus wave itself. There's a lot of variety. There's stuff that sort of people are like, I love that, I need that head, and there's stuff that people are like, I don't know why anybody would want that head. I I think these are gonna circulate. I think people are gonna be like, oh, I need a bunch
I
of
could
these
see
heads,
trading.
but
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's gonna be like a currency. I think among Mythic Legions collectors
S-
for a while.
So for me, I'm in on this.
Hmm.
I'm very interested in the dwarf head.
Hmm.
Uh, and I really want to try that head on top of the Deluxe Legion Builders dwarf,
Hmm.
and just sort of create as like a story, a new character with it, and maybe try my hand at customizing and painting a bit.
Hmm.
I think it's to me it's the winner in the head pack series, and they're none of them are bad, but that's the one I'm most drawn to. I think it looks fabulous.
Hmm. The I think the winner for me has got to be the Black
Kitty.
Panther.
Yeah.
um, because it's just I love the animals, and this is for me. This is the one. Again, I am gonna try to customize this, being that it is just a kind of a blank slate. I think it's a really good starting point. My biggest concern is where am I gonna get 1.0 um, crotches with
The whole
the
the
port, yeah,
for
the
the tail.
port for the tail.
Yeah.
That's going to be my struggle for the next little bit, is to try to track down a couple more of those. But
I don't know if we've spoken about it, but um this specific head I was thinking could probably go on an AWOC Savage figure if it's compatible. You might have to
I,
do some customizing, but like
yeah,
what's his name? The sort of primals.
hmm
I could see this on there and it looking fantastic.
hmm I asked that question to Jason. I asked if
Hmm.
the peg was going to be the same. He said he didn't know. That was sort of one of the things. Like he didn't ask or have it engineered to be compatible. It'll just be maybe it will,
Yeah,
maybe it won't. But fingers crossed that maybe enough people asked him, and maybe it'll happen. 'Cause
sure.
to me, it doesn't seem like a very complicated thing to try to match up. But yeah, Jay's with you. Send me
Yeah.
all the dwarf heads,
Yeah,
please.
totally. It looks great, right, Jay? Like it really does.
I mean, I think they all look great. Like, there's not
Hmm.
really, I think of all of them, I
The
think maybe
demon.
this one is maybe the one that people are the least excited about, because they kind of say, "Oh, we've already had that head a couple times." But
I
the
could.
it's a different deco. It's a different, if you've got multiples of say like the Iron Knight, you've
Yeah.
got a body to put it on. If you've got multiples of a couple of the female
I
figures, maybe don't have unhelmeted heads or whatever, it's just, I don't know. I think it's great.
I think she could also sort of sub, not to jump too far ahead, but like Lady Averona, like before she gets consumed by evil. That could be
Pretty
her
evil eyes.
pre-transformation.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what like when I first saw her. I'm like, oh, that would make sense, right?
hmm
For me, it's in this the head pack. The one I would tentatively trade is the demon head, just because I don't want to go too far into demons.
hmm
But the,
That's
the vampire
because
head
I
looks
don't have
great.
the other. Ironically, because I don't have the other demons, I'm excited to get that, because that'll be kind of the
Mm,
only demon thing that I probably have. And with Red Krampus coming out,
yeah.
uh,
Oh yeah, I forgot.
and then all the red bodies from like the
Yeah.
Furious Four, and if you have a Fury Orc, I believe this is pretty closely color matched to all that stuff. So I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of potential to use that head. And I think maybe people just kind of weren't thinking ahead. People were sort of looking
Mhm.
back at what could I put it on that's out now. But I think there's potential going forward for a bunch of stuff that's coming out. The vampire head is the same, right? With the Alithia coming out, I think that's perfectly timed. That bog goblin open mouth head with the tongue, with the helmet, with everything that it comes with, I think is awesome, because I
Yeah,
just think that adds, there's so much character in that head sculpt. I have the Hellfire Goblin, and
so do I.
and it's
He's
just such a
great.
fun little character because of that head sculpt.
Yeah,
Um, I'm really looking forward to getting that one. And then we get the neck pegs
the
as well,
adapters.
which is a
Perfect.
big bonus, because then you don't have to use gray or black knighted necks for everything.
Yeah.
You've got some options there, which is really really cool. So I think it's great. I mean, we always talk about how customer friendly it is. Four Horsemen is, but I mean, to get the neck pegs, to get the collar and the tail with the Jaguelian head, to get the helmet and the extra tongue with the bog goblin head. I mean, it's just,
They think about their customers, because they are
yeah,
collectors
they
themselves.
know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
So Ilgar,
Ilgar, yay or nay?
nay, I'm out.
Nay.
It's not for me. I'm happy for those that like now get to save the secondary market pinch to pick up an Ilgar. I'm very happy for them. I think it looks cool. I have a skeleton somewhere, and I'm good. I don't want to build up Necronomicus too much.
hmm
I mean, I know eventually when that horseman is released, I'll probably end up grabbing one or two from that line. but I'm not a huge skeleton fellow.
I'm not a big skeleton guy either. I have a few. Just I wanted to get a skeleton, so in All Stars 4, I couldn't decide between the two, so I got one of each. And then I have a Malleus because if Walter loves that guy, he can't be wrong.
Sure.
And then what else?
I have a
Oh,
surgery.
I have a Hagnon as well,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
which kind of a skeleton, but
He's a ghost.
he's a ghost. So I just thought that was just such a cool figure, so I had to get one of those. I don't. Yeah, I don't think of him as a skeleton. I think of him as a ghost. Um, Jay
More
says,
head
looking forward
packs.
to seeing more head packs. Damn, not hyped, but it's because I haven't got a new figure in 6 months.
I hear you,
Well,
bud.
that's the thing. Every time you open new ones, like well, Jay, I mean, you do customizing and stuff too, so you're gonna have a lot of fun with all those Legion builders, and I think as soon as we get them in hand, your imagination starts going and starts thinking of combinations and different stuff. So,
Totally.
um, I think they're gonna be really, really fun. Mike, I agree with Mike. Ilgar's armor is
Sure.
amazing for customs. The on the fence one for me is going to be Ilgar. Ilgar is the one where that head with those wings, the armor is pretty fantastic. I'm thinking there's a good chance I will end up getting him, but I will be swapping out the bones for
Arms.
yeah, whether it's sort of bare arms and bare legs or some
There is the
arm.
barbarian, right? The
Well,
deluxe
that's
barbarian.
it. There's options, and I'm looking forward to sort of seeing what kind of matches that armor best, because that patinaed armor, that kind of rusty, dirty, old looking armor looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and his bearded
Bearded
head
head.
can be used as a dwarf, because he's not a dwarf, contrary to popular belief sometimes. Um, Jay,
Oh
watch
man.
out for a man at arms with that gladiator. Yes, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I think people thought there might be a man at arms in this wave. I think a lot of people were looking at like the Magnus head for a man at arms. I think. Am I getting that character right? I don't know.
Yeah. No,
Is that?
Magnus is the man at arms look-alike, or
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
that's one that I wish I'd have bought more figures of. I love Magnus so much. He's probably my favorite of that wave.
Yeah. I don't love knights unless they have
Hmm.
sort of more going on, and that head sculpt and just the stuff that he comes with. Like that's a
Yeah.
really really great figure. And I agree. I mean, it's one where you can have multiples. That gold armor, with a few hits of color, like it doesn't kind of
Yeah.
hit you as just he doesn't look like a gold knight. There's a lot of depth to that deco for sure. Um,
Lady Averona.
Lady Averona, the possessed kind of, you know what, I haven't read her bio that carefully for whatever reason. She's sort of the one that I saw her and I was like, fantastic, I need multiples, and
Oh,
then I
I
was
think
like, backstory, whatever.
just to circle
uh
back, I think we got corrected. Magnus is the Fisto lookalike, according to Michael and Jay. So we
oh,
screwed
okay.
up a little. We're bad motours.
Well, I did I mean, I would be the worst motor if I just, I don't know any.
Good call, guys. Good call.
They both, yeah. Yeah, okay, because Fisto's unhelmeted, right? So I guess that makes more sense. Man at Arms has a like a bowl
Hmm.
cut helmet, I think. So,
Yeah.
but then
Lady
who is for
Averona.
that? Anyway, that's a conversation for another day, I guess. Lady Averona, Legion of
I'm,
Arethyr, human, evil
yep.
knight. So she's human, but she's got those eyes, and I didn't read too deeply into sort of
Hmm.
the backstory. I didn't sort of, sometimes you just, I don't know if you do this, but like when there's a character that I really love and I read the bio and it catches me, I'll really start kind of dissecting it and sort
Hmm.
of looking at, and we'll get to one of those soon. But this one, there was nothing about the bio that needed to sell me. I was sold on the figure already. Um, it just,
100% in.
Yeah, just great deco. I love the like the kind of dark gray, kind of dark steely armor with that
Hmm.
dark burgundy. Um, it just and I what do you think of the soft goods? What do you think of the soft good sort of loin cloth versus plastic?
So I'm looking forward to that edition. When I first saw her, I was like, "This is a evil version of Hadrina, right? Or Hadriana."
Yeah, more or less.
So the one complaint I had about her original figure, and it's not even really a complaint, but like the soft goods on it, the sort
Hmm.
of God, what am I thinking? The wolf skin or whatever
Yeah,
she
the
comes with,
cape and then the
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 cape.
the fur that kind of goes with it. Yeah.
The fur was a little like iffy for me. Like I had to position it in the right way for it to look right.
Hmm.
This with CJ's work, man, it's gonna take that to a next level.
Hmm.
I think she looks great. I think of the line, not counting Boreas, who has an unfair advantage as being the best.
Yeah.
I think she's my favorite. Uh, Definitely, I'm looking forward to getting her. She's gonna look really great next to Juno too, as another like sort of evil
Hmm.
female
Hmm.
in Arethyr's army. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I just love that armor. That like the dark armor with the burgundy. It just
Yeah,
looks so good. And that's pictures and as we know, like you get these in hand
yeah.
and they always look better in hand. So that's the other thing. Is like I see these pictures and I'm like blown away by these pictures. It's going to be another level once we sort
In
of
hand.
see them in hand. So.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, legions always, for me, it's subjective, but like for me, always look better in hand.
Mhm.
And like if you have an amazing picture, it just means it's going to be even deeper and textured, more
Mhm.
textured in hand. It's a great experience.
Absolutely. Mike and Jay are still just schooling us on Motu. They already done a Man at Arms tribute in Unkin, which is absolutely
Fair
right.
enough. The
So I
orc,
guess
yes,
I guess if you want to make a more sort of human Man at Arms, you could, but they've already done one with Unkin. Fisto is Man at Arms' brother.
yes.
I definitely didn't know that. Uh,
Yep.
Tesla's dad and uncle,
T-
or sorry,
Tila, I think.
Tila's dad and uncle. I didn't know any of them were related, but I guess it makes sense, doesn't it? Also sus that Fisto is Tila's real dad and Man at Arms raised her. It's not. I mean,
Mm,
I've heard stranger stories.
in yeah, I was going to say in fantasy, like it's not the most crazed backstory, but
No, I mean maybe Fisto's a bit of a womanizer, and maybe Man at Arms knows that, so he I'm so I've been on a bit of a Dragon Ball kick the last little bit with the
mhm.
movie coming out and stuff. I mean Piccolo is Gohan's dad, even though Goku is Gohan's dad. So I get it. I get it. You know, anyone can be a dad. Not everybody can be a father.
Here, here.
Is it that way or
That's
just
it. That's it.
anyway? Jay said he's a drunk. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, no, God, this figure's gonna be great when it comes out. She's just sick.
Is that and she's your favorite of the line of the
Yeah,
wave?
yeah,
Yeah,
easy.
yeah. Um,
Let's move on.
I mean, for me, it's hard to pick one. It's honestly hard to pick one. We did a poll in the Knights of the North, and I honestly didn't answer it right away.
Mm,
I wrote the poll, and I didn't even know what my pick was. Although I think I do have a favorite if I'm really objective. Like if I could only get one from the line, I think I know which one it would be. But anyway, moving on. Okiatos,
mhm.
the skelly spider.
Yeah, so he
Yes,
is the what's it called? The tribute figure for um
that that thick
Webstore
web
from
store.
Motu. Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay,
I'm gonna have the audience like, no, it's not. It has
Yeah.
to. No, I'm pretty sure it's Webster.
I mean, feel free to chime in the comments. We clearly don't know who this is meant
We are not
to be.
motours. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, Webster. Thank you, Jay.
Web store. Yeah, I can only assume that he's one of the baddies because a hero spider guy probably wouldn't land. So I can only imagine he's on the baddies side. Um,
So for me, this one was like initially like an easy pass. He's kind of warming himself to me. I don't like skeletons, but at the same time, this guy's different enough. His
you know what I do like?
faction. What? Which part?
Customizing fodder.
Yeah.
So that back peg and piece where you can put arms in, you
Yeah.
can put any arms in there.
It could be
Well,
interesting.
any 2.0 arms, I guess.
What would be, you know what, sort of, and this is like,
Now we need an arms pack, but
yeah, an arms pack would be cool. The thing that turns me off about him, and it's like petty, but if you go on to Source Horseman and read his bio, the thing that like gets me for this guy is his faction, because I could see him being like a member of the Red Sun, like the Assassin Guild, far easier than
mm-hmm.
Necronomicus, because like as much as he's a undead, he looks pretty lively. I know that it's a skeleton, but at the same time, like he really has a personality in the face. So who knows? If I change my mind, maybe I'll get him and just put him on the red, like the limited red suns that I have. I will put him with them.
Some of them are tough. I mean, Xenothon is another one where like it's
Yeah.
such bonus flock, but I was like, those colors don't land.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't it there's something about it that just doesn't feel like Xylona's flock to me, unfortunately. Um, that being said, like it's a great figure, and again, that's one of those ones where I could see it being like the winged gray orcs are sort of their own, like they don't want to have an affiliation. Like I would imagine them um headcanon, right? I
Sure.
would imagine them sort of living on like a cliff face, almost like where they would fly in and fly out of their sort of city or whatever, so that it's like not easy access, and all they want is to just be left alone, and there's like not that many of them, and like they're sort of ancient and unknown and stuff like that. I kind of look at Okietos a little bit in that way. Like I kind of look at him as like a mutant kind of thing, like where maybe he's one of one, or like
Sure.
of a few, or something like that. Um, but yeah, I'm looking at him like I'm looking at Ilgar for sort of custom fodder, but not necessarily for parts entirely, which is weird. But
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. So
Romulus, the Mercurian, I think brother of Vetus, if I'm not mistaken. I could be
Vitus.
wrong on that one because
Yeah,
I
I think there's a relation there. For me, it's a yes.
Mhm.
For no other, like I'm not a big Mercutian. Like I'm not going to grab all of them. I'm not going to necessarily build out that, but I really like the colors. I think he'll stick out on a shelf. I believe he's associated. What group's he in? He's with. No, I have to actually check. Noble Bear.
Yeah.
I don't have many Noble Bears, or to say any Noble Bears at this point. I might. I might. I think I'm going to grab him purely for aesthetic.
Um, yeah, fair enough. Black and gold doesn't really do it for me most of the time.
Mhm.
Um, that's I sell bicycles for a living, and there's so many black and red everything that I'm just like sick of it. I just can't do it. Um, but I get it. I mean, a lot of people like it, and a lot of people like black and red as a deco. That's why there's so much black and red stuff sort of out there. I get it, but yeah, not for me. Um,
Could you see picking him up for just like accessorizing or customizing? Not even. Huh? Okay, that's fair.
no, because he's asymmetrical for one thing.
Yeah,
So I
that's
kind of would be stuck like, I mean, that's a tough one for me. The asymmetrical ones for customizing and get a little bit harder. Now, if there was something where I wanted, that deco of his arm or something, I'd probably just paint one, to be honest. And I can get a bear arm. I can get
Sure.
two bear arms with sort of other um with other figures, right? So
Sure.
I mean, I guess it is what it is. But next up is Swig.
Yes.
Love him. I got to duck out for
Me too.
1 sec. Be right back.
No worries. Yeah, definitely Swig is he's a get for me. Really like him. Ah, man, all the goblins have like unique personality. This one with Swig, kind of the alchemist of the goblins, if you want, with his like little potion and such. Really looking forward to it. I think he's gonna fit in really well, especially with the Gorgo reissue, Gorgo Etherbraid reissue coming out soon. Just based on the bio, his importance or sort of wanting to suck up to Gorgo Etherblade. I want him definitely, definitely. Um, I don't have a King Noglin yet. If it ever comes up in a trade, I would definitely love to grab one. But
Mm-hmm.
no, this guy is a slam dunk for sure. I'm gonna grab. I could even see like the pieces that he comes with might even justify getting a second one for customizing.
Mm-hmm. That's I again. I'm looking at him
Yeah.
as well for the same reason.
Yeah.
Um, you get that CJ soft goods kind of skirt loincloth piece. The color on this armor looks like it's going to be really, really good. Like it looks
Yep.
again kind of like a patinaed bronze kind of a color based on sort of what I can see there. He gets the new belt. He gets that bone sword. He gets the staff. I think
The
there's
staff literally looks
spare
good too.
spare
Oh,
hands as well. So you get a couple. I mean, if you've got a bunch of goblins, um, you've got the potential there for a little bit of extra fodder. Um, and I think uh, he's doing it now. Yeah, hasn't come through yet. Sorry about that.
no worries.
Yeah, that bone sword. You don't see that bone sword very much. I mean, it's only been with a few figures. That dagger is the same way. Like there's only a few figures where you're going to see that dagger. So it's tough because even for parts, like if you kind of objectively look at what you can do with that stuff, there's just a lot of potential there. Plus,
Nice.
he's just a cool little figure. And a lot of goblins have spare heads, so you can sort of mix it up. Mix up the heads with the different goblins that we've already got. One of the secondary heads could easily go on this guy. Switch the pauldrons out, and you've got a completely different goblin. So, and because I love goblins, I mean, I'm just sort of justifying to myself why I need multiples. Um, so that's a
It's a get.
definitely. Oh, without a doubt, it's a get for sure. Yeah. Um,
We'll move on to the guard.
Now, this may surprise people, but the Xylernian Guard is my favorite figure in the wave because, quite simply, I love Xylona's Flock, and that shield is
Yeah.
fantastic. The shield alone, I think, is enough to sort of sell me on the figure. Um, so, yeah. How many are you getting?
If I would go with two.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to build it out too much. I'm waiting for Alithia Wave to drop so I can get Silver Cord 2.
Mm-hmm.
If I love her as much as I think I'm going to, two of these guardsmen on either side of her and Adler,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to look great.
Austin got Artemis, and he initially wasn't like completely over the moon with Artemis, but once he got her in hand and opened
Hmm.
her up, he really, really, really loves Artemis,
Yeah,
and I think um, I think the same as you. Like this is a no brainer for anybody that's like a Xylonis Flock fan. Um, and again, you're getting multiple heads. You're getting tons of accessories.
yeah,
You're getting a whole bunch of new-ish parts. Um, so the potential here to kind of mix and match to have a couple different styles of guards is reason enough to me to get multiples of this figure. Um, how many is going to depend on a whole bunch of other things.
sure.
If I decide to get Ilgar and I decide to get um, what am I the Okietos, that's two less Xylernian guards. So that's kind of where I'm looking at it, is like I kind of decide how many figures I'm gonna get, and then I sort of allot,
Yeah,
spots. And any spot that isn't filled is gonna get a Xylernian guard in that spot. So I love the Elven sword. I love archers, so I love the bow and arrow and the quiver. That shield looks phenomenal. I'm gonna have a couple of them with that shield, and I'm gonna use a couple of those shields for a castle silverthorn or silver cord that I'm dio that I'm building.
nice.
I was hoping to do like banners or something, but I think this sort of a 3D form really works for that. And the deco is fantastic. The Xylonis flock deco of the green, bronze, gold is just
It looks
that is of all the factions, that's the faction that drew me in with characters, and then kind of doubled down by having, to me, the coolest color palette to work with. So
the design is great, just great. And I mean, I could see you falling in love with it because it does have like almost an elf ranger aesthetic. Like you could almost see that. Like
it's
there's parallels
almost a
between the two.
perfect marriage of the two that
Yeah.
I didn't get.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
I'm I still wish I'd gotten those ones, but like I said, the blow was softened by Xylernian Guard and Dubin for sure. So
And again, I would say anyone collecting legions knows that the, the horsemen don't forget, and things will find a way to trickle back in some way. I'm certain.
mhm,
It's very much a long game, and especially with the growth that the line has been getting in the. I mean, since the pandemic, really, like I noticed it's huge. It's getting bigger, so
mhm.
there is a possibility that they'll circle back at a certain point for sure.
I think the Elf Ranger too. Like what I really love specifically about the Elk Ranger is that the deco is kind of it's Xylonis flock, but it's a muted version of that,
Mhm.
which is really really cool and I think quite unique to that figure. But that being said, like between the other elves that we've gotten, and then the War of the Aether Blade deluxe male
Yes,
elf legion builder pack out. I'm not going to be short elves. It's just I love the deco on that one, and the Legolas head. So just because it looks like Legolas, I think is there's a draw there. But I'll get that one at some point. It's just there's a lot to catch up on,
sure.
and like you mentioned before, if money and space weren't an issue, I'd already have it, but surprise, they are. So
Yeah.
I haven't managed to wrangle one of those yet, but the day will come. The day will come. Last but certainly not least, we've already kind of talked about him, but Xenothon, the Gray Orc, half angel. Really, really great figure. I can't wait as soon as
Same.
we're done this video, I'm ripping this thing out of the package and I'm gonna put them together. I can't wait to play around with them. I love the orcs. I love the deco on the alternate head. Um,
See, for me, I will say that I'm grabbing him for sure. My only thing is I don't know that I necessarily need like I want to keep the orc head on him at all times. Like I don't know that I'll necessarily keep the
Mhm.
mask. Not that I don't love it, not that I don't appreciate the tribute to oh god,
Mhm.
what's his name? The Motu. Oh man, I'm blanking, and I shouldn't be blanking because I know this guy.
I don't even know
Stratos.
this guy.
Stratos. My
Stratos.
apologies.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll take your word for it.
I think it's like a really clever tribute to Stratos. Like it's really smart the way they executed it, but
Yeah, the
for me,
pictures that I've
it's
seen, he has wings sort of on his forearms. I think in
exactly.
the figure. I think to me this is a great way for them to get wings into the line because I think like Eagleus 2.0 from the All Stars
Mhm.
wave was the last time there was wings, like feathered wings,
Yeah,
if
I
I'm not
believe
mistaken.
so. I believe so. A lot of demon wings, but not a lot of feather. You're absolutely
Hmm.
right.
Hmm. And that's to me that's a big draw is the wings, and like I said, right off the top, like the gray body is just I think a really great jumping off point for some customs. Jeremy Gerard I think posted one where he basically stripped all the armor and just kept sort of the gray parts,
Hmm.
and it looked so good. Um, Xenothon is definitely one where it's like, okay, now that I have one sitting right next to me, do I get sort of one more, or do I go, 4 or 5 to have sort of a little squad? I don't know. That'll be a tough one, and that's I think two is a lock, and then it's just how many more fit.
I could see for me it's one for now, but I could see a second one being interesting for kit bashing and
Yeah.
character creation. 100%.
My
I don't
problem
know.
is I need two like to be like I have two Bryophytus because
Mhm.
I want him to be like the lone lichen orc. I needed two lichen orcs. I'm thinking the same way with this gray orc. Like I kind of need two gray orcs.
Sure.
Then if I'm gonna take one apart, I need a third one.
Ah,
See, that's
I
my
gotcha.
problem. Is like I don't if I'm using something for fodder for kit bashing for Lazy Boy Customs, once it's apart, it never goes back. It's like a all or nothing. Like you're either fodder or you're a stock figure.
I hear you.
I it's I wish I could get over that because I could buy far less figures and get all the customs done that I want. Jumping back into the comments here, Jay, I presume about Okietos said evil
Yep.
master of butt rope.
Hmm. Hmm.
Then he said no Torgan. I don't know
That was
necessarily
in reference to
the
Romulus, I think.
asymmetry.
The asymmetry.
Um, I don't have a Torgan, but I would love one. Torgan, I would buy as a stock figure. I wouldn't use them for kit bashing, so that's
Yeah.
um.
Same.
I don't mind asymmetry when it's for like a complete figure that I like the figure. It's just I wouldn't buy Romulus as a fodder figure because he's asymmetrical.
Hmm.
A fodder figure sounds funny.
He's fodder.
Yeah, that's my fodder figure. Um, Mike said, not the brother of Vetus. He's a younger Mercurian separated from his brother who is unknown as of this time. So we don't know who his brother is. Okay. I wasn't sure on
Yep.
that. Like I said, because I'm not so well versed in the Mercurians. So you'll have to forgive me. My head canon trumps 4H's canon sometimes. Can't go wrong with goblins. I 100% agree. Even
Yeah.
if you just bought, the Legion Builders ones and just kept them kind of all masked up and kind of all inconspicuous and unnamed, the goblins are just so much fun. Um, that was one of the first figures that I got was those the reinforcement wave goblins. So
Okay.
um, they're tons of fun. I love the goblins. Jay says, I have a spare Noglin. Hit me
Oh,
up.
cool. Will do, Jay.
Um,
Thank you.
yeah, if you don't, I probably will.
Done.
You know what? I knew that he had it for a while. I just we haven't sort of had a deal sort of get to that point. Jay's hooked me up with a bunch when I was sort of brand new. big shout out to Jay. When I was brand new, he just sent me like a welcome to the line package in the mail. He's in Vancouver and I'm in Kelowna, so
Oh,
we're
nice. Cool.
fairly close. He just sent me a bunch of random bits and pieces and fodder. He actually sent me a shadow elf. Um, I
Oh.
can't remember, just the like the Legion builder, the soldier. He sent me one of those heads, and then we later made a trade where I got the rest of the figure, but I already had the head, so he'd already sort of. Anyway,
Nice.
yeah, Jay's a great dude. Shout out to you, Jay. Um,
Shields. Ah, the
Mike, the 3D
guard.
shields look amazing. Yes, I agree. I bought the Attila and Gorgo 2-pack for the shields. I
Mm-hmm.
hope I like the figures. I'm really excited that the Xylona's Flock was the third shield that we got. I'm really, really hoping and trusting in the Four Horsemen to come through with the rest of the shields in 3D form. Somebody pointed this out, but it looks like the shield is kind of two pieces. Like it looks to be um, like a generic shield that probably just has the other like the sigil attached as a separate piece. So I can only assume that if they've done three, they'll probably do the rest sooner
Safe
rather
bet.
than later. At the end of the day, there is something for everyone in the All Stars 5+
Yes.
wave. The Horsemen really do look out for all the fans. 100% agree with that. There is something
Yeah.
for everybody. I I'm not certain, but I mean, I bet most of the factions are covered. Um, I
Yep.
mean, if we quickly, we've got Xylona's Flock,
You have Aerith here.
Arethyr, Noble Bear, Necronominus. Um,
If you count the head packs, you got
if you count the head
vampires.
pack, you got
Uh,
vampires.
I'm pretty sure you have Leonidas with Leodesius rather with
The
the
head,
dwarf
the female head,
or the
or you
dwarf.
could, or the dwarf. Yeah, I mean, you could kind of fudge it one way or the other, I
I
suppose. I
think.
mean, you got pretty good coverage. Is I guess
Yeah.
the you got Poxus and Azar.
Mm-hmm.
Basilia, you could say that it's a Joran Runeshaper head. So Joran was Basilia.
Mm-hmm.
Balam was Basilia, so that Jagwellian head could be, if you go that route, Basilia. So
Totally.
yeah, I mean, there's I I think when they were going through the announcements of the figures, I think there was like rumblings of like, oh, I don't love this wave. Once everything was revealed, I don't think I heard anybody saying that anymore.
I think there's also a factor that of people haven't had a lot of new legions in their hands in the last few
Hmm.
months.
Hmm.
Alithia, of course, for people who bought directly from the Horsemen, they have in their hands now. But for a lot of us, are sort of waiting on it, and absence sometimes like fogs you a little, and
Yeah,
people forget how awesome these things are when you do
yeah,
get them, and when you
yeah.
get closer. And I guarantee you, as we get closer and closer and closer, these will sell out 100%. Like it's not even funny. I suspect that it'll all be pretty much a sellout on secondary retailers
Yo, for sure, for
as we
sure.
approach. I don't know
Yeah,
of any of them that's like a peg warmer, if you could call it that.
no, that's the thing. And like I was saying, like the fascination is very much that, like I said, like I think there's kind of, lots of people will get the all in because they
Sure.
always get the all in. Um, but I think, the people that are only buying the all stars, the people that are only buying the new ones, like I think it's gonna be sort of a wash in the sense that like they're gonna sell the exact same number of like every figure. Maybe Boreas is in Xylernian Guard, because you can kind of army build Xylernian Guard, and I think Boreas. I think I don't know this, but I think a lot of people kind of slept on Balius,
Oh, for sure they did.
and I think a lot of those people are kicking themselves, and I think Boreas is going to see like good numbers for that reason, as people sort of correct their mistake of not getting a Balius. If you don't have a Balius, you get a Boreas now, but then you sort of add on to make sure that you
Yeah.
have sort of enough for. your photography or your play patterns or whatever.
Even for non-Legion collectors, Balius was
Mhm,
massively popular, and you had a lot of influx of people who, I mean, perhaps not Marvel Legend people, but people collecting other lines and such.
mhm.
Like I saw a lot of photos of people who were doing NECA stuff on top of the horse. Like any fantasy kind of worked on it. Any Western, you could mod it. Like
I've
there was a lot of cross pollination with that release
even
specifically.
Action Force and Classified I've
Yeah,
seen on
yeah.
Balius.
Spirit
Um,
on Balius looks great.
Spirit on Balius, yeah, and I think, um, I mean, I've said this before. Like I'd known about the line long before I pulled the trigger on buying anything,
Sure.
but when I saw Alder, I was like, oh damn, like
Yeah.
that was sort of the first crossover piece that I saw where I was like, okay, people are going to start seeing this in toy photography and not look at it as though it's Mythic Legions, and that's gonna there's that's I think the next few waves there's going to be a massive amount of people coming into the line. I
Jay
think.
mentions Mezco Conan as well. Yeah, you're absolutely right,
Mhm.
Jay. That yeah, it looked great on Balius. It'll look great on Boreas too.
I think it'll even look better on Boreas just
Yeah,
because Cohen has that.
the
Um,
Dark Horse.
yeah, yeah, and kind of the workhorse, like those legs. I think look a little more Conan.
Oh, I'm even thinking of it now. Even that Mezco Death Dealer that's coming. Question mark as to when, but that's gonna look great on top of Boreas as well.
Jay also said 3D is changing the game. I
Hmm.
think you mean in
Hmm.
terms of like the shields, in terms of sort of what they're doing with some of the parts. Jay, it's a war horse. Absolutely, that's kind of my thinking too. Is like Balius is sort of the fleet of foot horse, and Boreas is sort of like if you're the general in the army and you're at the front, he's maybe the horse that you want.
Yeah.
Although I don't know anything about pitched battles, so maybe you want the fastest horse. But I think if you're just running into people, probably a big, strong, heavy horse probably works too.
Well, that's it. That's our wave.
That's it. That's also that's it. I mean, it's
Seems we're going to be grabbing a lot of this wave, and I for one
yeah.
am really looking forward to it.
I was when they announced the three all stars, I was like, okay, I might be able to save some money on this wave, and
Mm,
then the floodgates opened, and yeah, and
not so much.
not so much. Yeah, I was hopeful, but in the end, it's not happening. But anyways, this caught my eye because I forgot that this was even in there. But they also added a sword meh
Oh, dude, that's great.
in with my little prize package there. So that's great. That's gonna go when I get the castle going. That's gonna go in Thistlethorn's relic room. So that's awesome.
So 3D printed. It looks really cool.
No, no, it's the what they got it at PowerCon. They give them
Oh,
they
did
give them
they?
like four horsemen give
Nice.
them out at all the cons. Yeah, so Thistlethorn.
I have to go down to PowerCon.
Yeah, we're going next year, aren't we?
I think so. I think that was the talk. I really want to. I really, 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 really want to.
Thistlethorn came with this one, the
Nice.
kind of turquoise one. But then this one was like they do like it's the con exclusive one, I guess if that's
Sure.
like they give them out when you're sort of in line to buy figures from Four Horsemen. I think they give them out. Um, yeah, I don't think it's come with any I don't think it's come with any figures or anything like that. I think there's like four or five different decos of this particular sword. Um, and now I have two, so that's pretty cool.
Congrats. It's
It's a
wonderful.
cool sword, man. It's like the
Uh,
Four Horsemen
the
kind of
sigil.
logo, but in a sword form. So that's pretty dope. Again, massive shout out to the Legion's Lair guys, Mike and Brad, and their executive producer, Lauren. So shout out to those guys for being awesome and being very generous. Hopefully, maybe on maybe when we have like more than like three people watching, we'll get around to doing a draw or something like that on here. But not I got nothing tonight, unfortunately. But that being said, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button there. If you didn't like it and you don't want to see more, hit the dislike button. It all works, I think. I don't know how any of that works, and to be honest, I don't care. I'd be doing this anyway, and I have been doing this anyway. So, Jay says he made it. He made the sword.
Nice.
He didn't make it.
Ah, well, damn.
Mike says, "Beautiful Ohio, welcome."
Fantastic.
I'll be honest. I don't know anything about Ohio. I just it's one of those states. I mean, you're in Montreal. You're on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you feel differently about Ohio. Does Ohio seem to you like one of those states that could be anywhere in the United States, and you wouldn't be like, oh, that's where it is?
Well, I have sort of a friend of a friend who's from Ohio, actually. So
Oh, okay.
it's kind of like it has that feel of Heartland. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Which Canadians will understand, but I don't know. Is Heartland?
totally.
Do they have that in the States?
Yeah, I mean, the center of the country, right? Like the
Mhm.
heart of the nation. Ohio is the heart of all.
The heart of it
There you
all.
go. Yeah. No, man, like I would be happy to go down to PowerCon and check out Ohio. Like I've heard very good things. So looking forward
Hmm.
to it. Yeah, directly below uh Michigan and above Kentucky. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I mean, I know where Michigan is. I've driven through Michigan. My parents are from Ontario, so we've driven through there a bunch of times,
Nice.
um, but never sort of dipped down quite low enough, I guess. Um, yeah, it's been fun, man. I mean, I think we could talk about All
Likewise.
Stars 5 indefinitely because there's so much to talk about. There's so much good stuff in there. There's so much. We could do an episode of soft goods soft goods loincloth or plastic loincloth. Maybe that'll be a topic for another video.
I'd be down.
Fabric or plastic. Um, I should take note of that because that's a good. How much can we get out of one ridiculous little thing like that? Probably easily an hour, if I'm being honest.
We'll have to find a way to steal some time with CJ, man.
Well, we're working on it.
Ah.
That's a good segue. Actually, another quick shout out to Mike at E Collectibles. He's got the Knights of the North sigil hat. So I almost always wear this one, but as soon as I get it, I will be wearing my Knights of the North sigil hat. That should be shipping with my Alithia figures and my Legion builders,
Yeah.
if not sooner. So expect to see that hat soon, and stickers as well. So
Yeah.
if you're if well, I mean, I was gonna say if you're one of the Knights of the North, even if you're not, I mean, that's a really awesome Nate Barch designed sigil, which we are planning and hoping to put on everything. It's gonna be like Frank's Red Hot. We're just gonna put it on everything.
It's really dope.
And the
Oh,
the hats and the stickers were just the quickest, easiest thing to sort of get it out there. But you mentioned CJ, and you mentioned that sigil. I don't know. Maybe something might come through soon. Maybe not. Anyways, uh, Scott
there you
Baker
go.
says, "Hey fellas," and on that note, good night. No, that's perfect timing, Scott. We're just tying
Wrap it
things
up.
up. Glad you could join. Too bad it was a little bit late. But I'll save you the trouble of skipping all the way back to the beginning. I showed off that the Legion's Lairs guys sent me this. You knew about that because you messaged me and said congratulations, and I had asked you what for. But anyway, yeah, we always shoot for an hour. We're at an hour and 25 minutes, so I
Yeah.
think that's probably as
We'll
good a
wrap
place
up.
as any to wrap up. Thanks again, guys, and hopefully you guys can join me again next time we do the Saturday nights live, which there's a good chance will be next Saturday night. Patty, anything else you wanna add?
No, that's
Closing remarks.
beyond. Thank you for having me on the show tonight, and it was really fun just talking about all of AS5.
Mhm.
Uh, no, nothing else. Check out eCollectibles if you can. Lock in pre-orders for Lithia's the next one coming in beginning of or mid-September, I believe. So
It's gonna be,
don't
yeah. It's
don't delay if you
September
have anything
19th, I think
left.
is
Yeah,
street date. So that's the date that he can ship it. But like, let's be honest, that's it. September starts next week,
yep.
so that's not far off.
Get it. Get
Um,
the orders in now
and
before it's all gone.
a little birdie told me that that Alithia and Deluxe Legion Builders will very likely ship at the same time. So,
Yep.
um, you know, make room on your shelves is all I can say. All right, guys. It's been a pleasure. It's always fun. Until next time, thank you and good night.